Welcome back to the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage, everybody. I'm making a video today on a few maintenance items I want to perform on the incredible, super ultra deluxe, spare no expense cabinet that I was showing off in my cabinet series. And of course, this is the really very expensive cabinet that the person who got the Neki BU mirror chose when they bought the machine. Of course, the machine would have come with a case, and then you had options for tables. As I mentioned in the cabinet video, I found the pricing for this cabinet original and added a little sales tax and then put it in an inflation calculator from 1952, and what I came up with was $3,750. So I want to, just out of respect for how magnificent this piece of furniture is, I wanted to show you guys a few things I'm going to be doing. I've got a couple of repairs. Now, I mentioned in the cabinet video, whenever you find a cabinet, always ask the person selling it to you, are there any cabinet parts anywhere? Are there any sewing things? Because remember, there might be sewing materials and tools and notions. They could be accessories for the machine. Sometimes they're in the drawers, but sometimes they're in a bag or a box. And there can be other parts to the table. You always want to ask, right? You don't want to leave anything that belongs to the machine or the table. It's easy to do when you're in someone's place and you don't want to spend too much time there. You want to decide and want to buy it and get it loaded and go home. But take time to ask those questions. Now, one of the things that I was really fortunate about, I think I mentioned it in the cabinet video, this little piece of wood was sitting in one of the drawers. Now, this cabinet has 8 drawers, but when I saw the photo, I thought that it only had 7 because one of the drawers, this one in the bottom, was actually it was further inside, and I thought that's kind of weird. Well, as it turns out, the cabinets are not quite as deep in measurement as the actual cabinet is. The drawers are a little more shallow for reasons that are beyond me. But anyway, the point is, all of these other cabinets, they stop, right? They stop as they should. Well, they all have their stops. Fortunately, this was in one of the drawers, so someone had the foresight to keep it with the table. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be gluing this down below. Now, see if I can show this to you guys and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, guys, bear with me here. I don't think I've ever shown any of you the inside of a cabinet drawer space. So here I'm pulling this out, pulling the drawer out, and then you can see, I'll get a flashlight here so you're not just looking in complete darkness. As you can see, the drawer slides, like any other piece of furniture. This part of the sewing cabinet is, other than the fact that it's built beautifully, is essentially the same. Now this, here it is right there. So the cabinet drawer runs along these little rails here. And I'll try to point them out here. So this little piece of wood is going to, I think it stops right about there. And you can see where I placed it right there. And I'm going to be gluing that, and then once the glue has cured and dried, the shelf, the little drawer here, it should, in fact, be flush, just like the others are, the way they're basically supposed to. Let's take this drawer out, and I'll see if I can show you what it looks like up here. And you can see the way it's supposed to look, right? Here's the one that's working properly. It's got its little wooden stop there. All cabinets have different ways of doing their drawers. Some of them, they've got all kinds. Some of them have a little piece that kind of comes here and it slides, on a groove here. But this one doesn't. In fact, they slide beautifully. Let's see. One of the things, by the way, I'm going to be doing, I have some wax. You can take a wax crayon or just a piece of canning wax, and I'm going to be waxing the surface here so that when I put drawers in, they slide pretty nicely, but it's always a nice kind of thing to do. So I'm just going to put this back in, and you can see it stops perfectly. That's the way it's supposed to be. So again, I'm very fortunate to have this piece of wood. Technically, I think I could have You know, I think I could have made a piece. I just could have modeled it after the others if I had to, but fortunately I haven't. So I'll be, again, I'll be gluing that in place, letting it dry, and then the drawer will be fine. So that's just one of the things that I'm taking on to basically resuscitate the cabinet, getting it back to full functionality and hopefully its original beauty. We'll see about that part. Now, I'm going to show you guys some other things I was working on. This, of course, is the mechanism that that some sewing machine tables have. Some of the Singers have it. A lot of the Neckies had this. Some of the Kenmores. It just depends on the brand and the model. But they had these pretty elaborate sort of brace. I guess they're spring-loaded levers, and they're here. I mean, it's strong, right? You don't want this thing to pop up and hit you. It can really hurt. Now, what I did was I went in here and I simply took some just sewing machine oil and started lubricating. It was moving fine, but again, it'll move more smoothly. It takes a drop. It took me 5 minutes, you know. So how do you know where to oil? Well, look at the parts that move. You can see the parts that pivot. A bit of extra oil there. You can see the parts that pivot, and that's where you just put a drop or two of oil and you're done. I don't know if you guys recall, but in the cabinet video I was showing, there's this little latch. It looks like the latch on an old screen door, and you put it in this hole here and it holds this in place. And that's there for when, you can see when I push down, whoops, then it comes back. But it's there to basically hold this thing in, so if you take the machine out, this thing can kind of stay put and stay out of the way. You don't want it to smack into the filler piece here. What else to show you? The other thing, oh, I know what else I can show you. I'll show you guys the speed control. So the Singer company, if you remember some of the Singer cabinet videos, you will recall that, well, let's see. Okay guys, I wanted to get a better angle here for you, and I wanted to show you a lot of sewing machine companies would install a knee lever option. Now, with Singer, as some of you have seen in my Singer cabinet videos, a lot of the Singer sewing cabinets had basically a slot where you would put the foot pedal, and the foot pedal would go into this slot. Attached to the slot was a handle that looks like this, down here, and you could use it as a knee or a foot pedal. But other companies did not do that. You either had to make a decision. They would either take a foot pedal and drill it into the cabinet, which is not really a graceful solution, but it worked, or you would have what was called a knee controller. Now, underneath the box, you see this box here, a lot of the white rotary and Kenmore rotary sewing machines had these. In fact, the vast majority of those machines had knee levers for whatever reason. I'm sure you could get a foot pedal, and I've seen them before, but they just haven't been as common in the ones that I've seen. But this box that you're looking at, let's see, I'll zoom in a little bit more for you, is basically, on the inside of that box is a porcelain housing with a rheostat. And so it works, basically, it has the components inside that box. They're the same components that are in your rheostat old school metal sewing foot pedal speed controllers. Okay, not the Singer button style. Those are what are called carbon pile type, and I've highlighted that in a video when I've talked about foot pedals or speed controllers. But anyway, this is what you see here, and of course Neckies were very basically the way they set up. They have a cord that comes from the speed controller with a male plug, and then there's a female plug that goes to the wire that goes into the machine for power. And I'll show that to you guys when I get ready to put the machine into the table. But anyway, that's where the speed controller is. While I'm on that topic, let's take a look at another little repair I want to make. If you look closely here, guys, you're going to see, I'll try to point, I'm putting light on this because I'm losing it. We're getting toward the end of the day here. But you see here, there's a piece of wood. Now that wood should be flush up against the underside of the tabletop, but it's not. It's loose. Now there's a tack nail that it was attached to when it was originally installed, and I think it had glue on it as well. The reason they had the tack nail there is because when the machine is up or not, this piece that closes rests on that little piece of wood right there. Well, that wood basically has been holding a lot of weight over its lifetime. I'm amazed it's held up as well as it did. Those machines are really heavy, guys. This Necky is a beast. So what I'll be doing is, move my camera one more time for you guys. Okay, guys, now from this angle, I think you can see right here. I'll shine the light on here because we're starting to get really low light now. So what am I going to do? I'm going to repair this. Well, I'm going to use this product. Now, there are lots of wood glues out there, and there are a lot of good ones. I saw a comparison, sort of a performance test of wood glues, and this particular one came out pretty well, and it's, according to what I saw, this particular one is has a lot of bonding strength, more than some of the others, according to the tester. Now, Elmer's has, their craft glue that many of us are familiar with, and then they have wood glue, but this is a special modern, I don't know, state-of-the-art wood glue, I guess is the lack of a better term. But anyway, I've used it for other projects. It's worked really well, and I'm going to be using it here. So what I'll be doing is I'll be putting the glue, and I'll be inserting it so that the glue gets between the wood piece and the bottom of the surface of the table. And then I will be taking my hammer very carefully, and I'll be coming up, and I'll tap the nail, right? And then that will set this piece of wood against the tabletop with the glue, and that should take care of it. I'm fortunate that it hasn't failed yet. Now, if it did, it's no big deal. It's a piece of wood. I could get, a new nail or put the nail back or what have you. But sometimes, if you see something like this, you know it's going to need help. I know how heavy the Necky machine is, so why not nip it in the bud? Why not take care of it when it's not that big a deal? That's kind of my approach to this. So, but anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. This table is, one last thing, last but not least, is of course the tabletop. I think I may have mentioned in one of my, on the cabinet video that I did for this machine, which was that I've been debating how am I going to take care of the tabletop. And if you recall, unlike the rest of the table, when this table was no longer the property of its original owner, whoever was using it to store things on was very, very rough with it. I mean, this here is not just a surface scratch. It goes down to the wood. I mean, it's pretty deep. Now, I've used the Howard's Restore Finish many times before. I will be using it on the rest of the cabinet, but not on the top. I'm really pretty convinced that if I do it, what's going to happen is it's going to create really dark looking scratches. I think the damage to the table is deep enough that Restore Finish, not only will it not hide the scratches, it may just make them pop, but instead of light, they'll be dark. So I am pretty close. I'd say 90% decided that I'm going to sand the top of this table. I don't like sanding and refinishing furniture. That's not what I do. I like to conserve it. But in this case, I'm going to experiment just with the top, okay? And I have to be really careful because this is a veneer. Now, how thick this veneer is I'm a little curious about that, right? What I'm seeing down here is a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch in terms of the top piece here. I don't know if that top veneer piece was made thicker because it was for the top, because the other veneers are not going to be, on the front here and on the drawers, the drawer facings. Those veneers are very likely going to be quite thin, as most veneers are. So if this grain goes down almost 1/8 of an inch, which you can see where my finger is right here, I'm gonna do it. I've never done this before on a table. Again, you guys have heard me talk about it, but it's so rough that I'm thinking about going ahead and doing that, and then I'll have to decide when I sand it, finding a stain that's, I can either just leave it natural and let it contrast, or I can look for a stain and try to match it. And I can tell you, having matched stain before in one of my early jobs in my career, I can tell you that matching stain, if you think matching paint is tough, matching stain is really tough. It's just not easy to do, and you don't want to practice on the final piece. So this is going to be, I suspect that refinishing this top will take me as much or more time than the entire renovation of the Necki machine, which is considerable. Neckis often take me longer, not as long as a Singer 201, but they can take quite a while because they just take a while to get loosened. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. These are a few tricks of the trade when you're talking about bringing back what was a god-awful expensive cabinet. And you know what? These cabinets don't sell easily. I have noticed that when they get posted for sale, a lot of times people don't buy them. They say, well, I don't have room for it. It's too big. Personally, if I was a sewer, I want a lot of surface, right? I want plenty of space. But some people don't have the space. They know their homes better than I do. But it's a shame because it's ironic. These were the most expensive tables. The bigger and fancier, the more people pay. But today, as I've mentioned in many of my cabinet series videos, sewing machine tables and cabinets, there are exceptions to this, but the vast majority of them have very little value. You can pick them up for almost nothing. And it floors me because they are so magnificent. I'm not just talking about styling. Styling is subjective. I don't ever tell people what they should find attractive. I'm talking about the quality of the materials, and the unbelievable prices that people pay way back in the day. I can tell you guys, paying just under $400 in 1952, that was a lot of money for one cabinet and no machine. The machine was extra, obviously. So anyway, thanks for watching my videos. I never dreamed that I'd be making videos one day of sewing machine cabinets, but I just couldn't see it sitting there. It was sitting in a building storage room. It had been there 10 years. No one was buying it. And I saw that Necki BU mirror, and I thought, oh, I want that. And I could have bought the machine and left the table. Well, I said, no, we're going to keep them together. And if no one buys this table, by God, I'll keep it. I mean, we will keep it here in our place because it's just a gorgeous piece of furniture, and it's just I still cannot believe the kind of money that people once paid for things like this. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you have a favorite sewing table or sewing cabinet, put your comments down there, and let us know what you think. Let us know, do you like big cabinets, small cabinets? Maybe you have a bunch of cabinets. I don't know. Depends on how much room you've got in your space. But anyway, hang in there, guys. We're going to be doing some more. I'll be doing a couple more videos on the Necki BU Mira. I've gotten her rewired, and I'm going to be reconnecting the machine to its power source, and eventually I'm actually going to make a debut video for the machine. It'll be put back in the table. If I sell the machine could certainly go into a carrying case or another table. It'll fit almost any Singer table. But as you know, I made a video, and I'm really tempted to hold on to that Necki. Now I keep forcing myself to choose between the Necki and the Singer 403. A lot of people say, "Oh, just keep them both." But I don't know. I always find people that need these machines more than I do because they sew and they make things, and I don't really do much sewing. I just need one machine. But anyway, you guys know how much I geek out on these old tables, and I couldn't help myself with this one. This is a big, giant one. 8 drawers. I think people must have paid by the drawer. Anyway, put your comments down below. Let me know what you think about sewing tables in general. Do you like them? Do they or maybe you don't like them. Maybe you just want to carry a case. But anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for a couple more videos as we unveil eventually the Neki BU Mira. Take care, folks.